Good morning. How are you? Before I really get started, since I've been putting this at the end, let me put it at the beginning because that seems to be what everybody else does. I really could use you subscribing, liking, commenting on my videos, doesn't have to be a nice comment. Comment's a comment, shows you watched it, I'm just trying to improve my relationship with YouTube, so not trying to get rich. So if you can, just click the like button and the subscribe button below, and you'll be doing me a great favor. Thank you. Now, here's something I was aware of in the past, but wasn't aware of. It's still a fact that the largest producer of cocaine in the world is still Colombia, which I wasn't still aware it was that big. So my question is, now they're buying, Colombia buys jets and all sorts of weapons and everything, but I don't know what they do with them besides, lean against them. And I live down here. And I don't want to see Colombia show up here. I mean, with the American Army showing up here or anything like that. They teach these guys, you don't want to go up against guys you've taught. It's strange. I don't know what Trump's going to do about Colombia. But he's just got to bug up his ass about Mexico because Mexicans get into the country illegally. Well, they weren't the ones that blew up the Twin Towers, but according to a lot of Trump supporters, the Twin Towers was a U.S. Attack on itself. They think the government's that fucked up. Well, if the government is that screwed up, wait till you see what Trump does. I have no doubt he'll do more. Was a good football game last night. Detroit showed that they had, I'm sorry, I'm just switching gears real fast. But yeah, Detroit showed that they had the ability to play Chiefs-type football, win by luck at the end of the game, which is what championships need. So I think what's going to happen, this game the Chiefs-Lions Super Bowl could probably go on for a couple of days. They might have to solve this one by a flip of a coin, Kind of crazy, isn't it? I'm kind of crazy. I'm having trouble right now finding things to talk about because I find that they've got a facial of the guy that took out the United Healthcare CEO, so I'm sure that they have run it through federal face recognition programs, and I'm sure they know who this guy is now. Oh, excuse me. And it's only a matter of time that I think he'll be taken alive. He seems to have something he wants to say. Now you have thousands have fled in Syria because this rebel group has challenged the Assad regime, and they want to take over I don't know whether they're good or bad guys that want to take over the country. We'll see what happens there. This kid, 16-year-old runner from Australia, ran the fourth fastest 100 in 18 under. Who cares of all time? That's just, you got to run the fastest. That's what's important. They're saying now CNN's doing an analysis of how a narrowly divided nation could frustrate Trump's vast ambitions. Trump's going to frustrate his own because he, as always, the biggest Well, it's like scientists have said the greatest enemy to the planet is us. Well, Trump's the greatest enemy to himself. You know, he destroys himself by being stupid. You know, this is not a genius. I mean, there's something wrong there. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's something wrong there. I fail to see dementia as a reason for him to be such a whack out, you know. Oh, good Lord. Some of the stuff I'm reading here is just... I'm wondering what's going on with the news in the world. You can't really get really good news, you know. I hear that people are calling Musk up, like his Israeli president called Elon to discuss the revival of hostage talks. Why? He has no political power. He's got money. And if that's what makes political power, then no wonder the government's up for sale, you know. Ooh. TikTok loses a bid to strike down law banning it from the U.S. That I have to read, because I was going to get involved with TikTok, but that's not going to do me any good if it doesn't go to the U.S. Well, you know, what can I say? Pamela Anderson's still around, you know, playing sexy. I guess that's all she's never impressed me as having a serious brain in her body. That's sort of like Paris Hilton, you know. That's another one that I mean, she just goes through life acting dumb. And I guess some guys like that, you know. I'm a little different when it comes to that dating women. I like them to have half a brain, at least, you know. Sex is a good idea, you know. If you're good in bed, that's always a great idea. When you're young, when you're older, it's not such a great idea. I'm going through that part of my life now. What can I tell you? But there's a lot of talk about Trump and these people that he's picking, and I look at these people, and I don't look at their personalities, I look at their qualifications. Now, according to them, my 6 years in the National Guard, I could run the Defense Department, you know, and about the only thing I know about the Army is which direction to point a gun and how to fire it. I've always been convinced that they don't actually, that the intelligence aspect of the military is an oxymoron at times because of the way battles are fought. You know, what makes a successful leader is one that can adapt to the situation during the situation. And I don't think any of these people that are there could adapt to a situation if it was happening. They'd have a set play, you know. If it doesn't work out, that playbook is the word I'm sorry. They have a set playbook, and if it doesn't work out, I don't think they're capable of adapting on the move, you know. The guy for the defense secretary is being advised, he wrote his wife, because he's trying to show that he has family support for his, which will help his ability to quit drinking. That doesn't work, really. You know, they're not always all around you all the time, family. You probably spend more time with work colleagues and stuff like that. But it's a pressure job, you know, and when you quit drinking, pressure's the one thing you don't need. You know, you need friends, you need to be able to relax, not think about it, you know. The first thing I did when I quit drinking It's a true story. I went out with a bunch of my friends to a bar I used to work in, a nightclub I used to work in, and hung out all night, talking to people I knew. Drinking non-alcoholic beer, which they tell you shouldn't do, and I'm not sure whether it is or it isn't. It's just that I can't stand club soda and lime all night long, and sodas aren't good for me, so, the rest of the 7-Ups and the Coca-Colas aren't really good for me, so I had non-alcoholic beer, which I have to tell you that at that time was in something called Lucy, and it tasted like shit. So you would drink it very, very slowly, and then when it was warm, you'd order a new one because it was just so disgusting. But that's the only alcohol I ever really liked was beer anyhow. I didn't like any of the other stuff I drank. I just drank it because everybody else drank it. I did have a very, very expensive taste in wine and stuff like that, but that's just, doesn't make any difference now. It's been, it's been 30 some odd years, 38 years, maybe more, since I've had a drink. The fact that I do wine tastings and stuff like that, say, will you swallow a little bit of it? No, I don't really. I spit it into a bucket, and I really don't know why I do it, because I don't have a refined palate. Now, when you play, and it's even worse now, because I have this all up here as false teeth, and that you lose a lot of your taste buds that way, So I don't do that anymore either, because I don't enjoy it. There are times when I wish I could have taken a drink, or smoke a joint or do something, because life gets kind of tough sometimes, You get a lot of bad news roll in. Bad news at my age doesn't come in dribs and drabs. It all comes at one time. So it's a little hard to deal with sometimes. But the one thing I can honestly tell you is alcohol doesn't need to look the pictures, Drugs, yeah. Alcohol, no. And I was never a drug addict. I stopped doing pot, God, when I was 30 years old, because I got paranoid from it. So, that's some feeling. I don't know how you people handle that. They do a lot of drugs, the paranoia. Oof, man. Not for me. So it's a little bit about me and what goes on in my life, but I don't think he can stop drinking on his own. I don't think he needs AAA. I don't really appreciate AAA because I think it's necessary. Therapy is necessary because you need to get to the root cause of why you drank, and I'm not going to get into that right now with me, but I do think it's important to know why you drank so that you know what you can do to correct it, however you're going to do it, What else is going on? And the other guy, Patel, I don't understand him at all. He's not qualified. He says he was, the Judge Advocate General. See, I'm not sure. One of them was in the Judge Advocate General's office, but he's not the one to be there. To head because you can't go over taking over a government agency unless you're with the plans that he has, because he's looking at converting it to a secret police sort of deal to go after Trump's enemies. And what I found watching Trump over the years is that sooner or later his friends become his enemies because they disagree with him, and that's something you're not allowed to do. You talk about freedom of the press, democracy. That doesn't exist in Trump's world. Freedom of speech doesn't exist in Trump's world, unless you want to badmouth everybody else and you're just being nice to him. Because if you disagree with him at all, whether it's publicly or non-publicly, he's gonna get you. Just look at his track record. Who would want to work for a maniac like that? Forget his philosophies. It's the way he does things. You can't. You have to be able to disagree with people from time to time. We all do that. And then you work out You sit down and you talk it out, you work it out, maybe you come up with a compromise about something, and actually things go better afterwards. Alright, listen, I'm having a lot of problems right now because it's extremely hot where I am, and I'm having a little breathing problem at the moment. So that's going to be it for today, and I'll see you tomorrow.